Hi, I'm Joe from School of Rock North Buffalo. When we're not making musicians, we're also fixing gear. So if you have a guitar or bass in need of love, if you need new strings, please bring it in. We'll be more than happy to help you. So not only do we do instruction and performance-based music, we also fix gear. So please bring it down to 9310 Trents Road, East Amherst, or you can give me a call at 716-317-7625. Again, School of Rock North Buffalo. We make musicians and we fix your gear.
On this episode, Dave Alford and Scott Board from Rockin' Dave's Rough Cutt.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Talking About Rock. I'm Rob Edwards. Here we bring you rock interviews from veteran and upcoming artists. Subscribe on our YouTube channel to stay up to date. Follow us on our social media and our website, talkingaboutrock.com. The band Rough Cutt stormed into the scene in 1985 with their self-titled debut release. Managed by Wendy Dio, wife of the late Ronnie James Dio, the band enjoyed success in the U.S. and worldwide, especially in Japan. And they also opened for Dio on the Sacred Heart Tour. Fast forward to 2025, Dave Alford has put together a brand new project, Rockin' Dave's Rough Cutt, for the purpose of celebrating 40 years of this amazing Rough Cutt music. But before we get started, we just wanted to mention, as of this recording, we've just become aware that Chris Hager, former guitarist with Rough Cutt and Rat, has passed away at 67. No cause of death has been given at this time, and Hager was reportedly working with Rat founder Stephen Pearcy on writing new songs. Okay, joining us now, let's welcome Dave Alford and Scott Board from Rockin' Dave's Rough Cutt. Guys, how's it going?
It's great.
Awesome. So
great to be here, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Appreciate it, guys. So let's backtrack a little bit. In 2021, Dave, you guys reformed a version of Rough Cutt. You released the album 3, but this is a new version of Rough Cutt we got going on here now. Dave, tell us a little bit about putting this together now.
It's really just an extension of me trying to keep the music alive. We are celebrating 40 years of Rough Cutt music. The other guys all got their stuff going on, and the first attempt of it was Chris and I with the last lineup. We called it the Black Rose lineup, and now it's taken me 3 additional years because I left the West Coast and I moved to the East Coast, and to put these guys together, and it's like a real tight unit, and we love each other, and everyone does their job, and it's amazing the talent that I'm surrounded with now. So it's Rockin' Dave's Rough Cutt. There is new music coming. We're celebrating the 40th anniversary of Rough Cutt's first release, and we're like signing up tour dates and getting ready to get out there and hammer it down. We already played one show in Atlanta, and it was a great success. And we're looking forward to more dates in the middle. We've already booked the Whiskey. We're going out to the Whiskey in October. So I just want everyone to see that, I'm keeping the music alive. And there's new material, too.
Excellent. We obviously wanted to offer our condolences on the passing of Chris Hager today. We just talked to our audience about that a little previously. We just heard the news today about that passing at 67. We just want to offer our condolences here from Talking About Rock to everybody in the Rough Cutt family.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I've been, talking with his brother all day long, and he will be missed.
Yeah, he was in the middle of working on stuff I was reading with Stephen Pearcy, right? They're writing some stuff together or something like that.
He's always writing stuff for Stephen. But from what I understand, him and Jeff Whoop were about to release a new single, something that they did back in the day when they called themselves Whoop and the Cow. But they were going to release a video, and anyway, I'm still in shock about it. I almost didn't do this interview.
I know. I was waiting to see if I was going to get an email from you folks saying we would need to reschedule, and I would totally understand that 100%.
See, my eyes are shot, and I've been crying all day. So
yeah. I'm so sorry for your loss, Duffy. Everybody in the Rough Cutt family, we offer our condolences to them at this time. Definitely, it was just out of the blue, unfortunately. But you're persevering here with some new folks. You got Scott here with you. Tell us a little bit about the guys you have in the band currently and what's going on.
Well, to be honest with you, Scott can answer that question because he knows a lot of these guys, and it came together between his bass player, Sean, and myself. Tell him about it, Scott.
Right. Well, probably about a year and a half ago, Sean, my bass player, mentioned that he was doing this project with Dave, and that they were working with a singer who has also since passed on, God bless him. And he wasn't able to do it back then. And immediately Sean rang me up because I told him I'd be absolutely interested in this if the other guy couldn't do it. And so we got together with Dave, and the first time we sang together, it was like magic, and we knew that was going to be a good fit, me and Dave singing together. And I think he liked my vocals at the time. And so then the search for guitar players went on. And we knew we had to have two really badass guys, to cover Amir and Chris. I mean, there's
stepped in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant guitar players, man. And so our search landed us in the Atlanta, Georgia area, where we got some really incendiary talents of Tony Baker and Nathan Smith. And those guys are really doing the songs justice, and they're really on fire and really fired up about going out and doing these shows. And so it's a really strong lineup, and we're all really, really dedicated to it. And we're really dedicated, most of all, to doing justice to the original recordings, and really detailing and doing the songs like the fans expect to hear them. And hopefully we do. The reviews from the first show were really good. And so we're really looking forward to doing more.
I talked to Paul Sortino just today, obviously, about Chris. And he talked to me about my new lineup, and he was telling me, he goes, this guy you got, Scott, really does my voice justice. And I said, you think? And we have new material that will be coming out. We just haven't recorded it yet, but we both are on the same page. We kind of both know what we're looking for, and we're keeping it all as, how can I say this, in that vein of the sound of Rough Cutt. Okay.
Right.
Two guitar players work very well together. So the new material will fit right in. But I just wanted everyone to know that Chris will be missed. We're all grieving right now. And when we come to the West Coast to play, he was going to be a special guest with us. We'd already discussed it, and he's going to be missed. But as far as the new lineup goes, we're very happy with it. We amaze ourselves sometimes.
Yeah, it's great to hear that you want to keep it in the same vein, the same style. I love when veteran bands do that. I mean, you guys are known for a certain style. a
Yeah.
certain sound, a certain way of writing your music. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? All of those things, obviously, you know, the voice of Paul also, you know, that Scott's stepping in for now, which is fabulous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when bands kind of change that and they kind of pivot away from their fan base, I think sometimes they don't understand, like, your loyal fan base wants to hear that style. They want to relive that type of music that you guys started with, right? That's what it's all about, right?
And we found that out when we did our debut show at Mad Life in Atlanta. I mean, it was amazing, and people were singing the songs, and you know, I just know that at what Scott said a minute ago about being accurate, we pride ourselves on doing the vintage material the way we did it when we recorded it. And that's one of the beauties that I get to have now that I didn't have with just me and Paul, because we had the third voice in the studio, as you can hear on the recordings. But live, it was just him and I singing. So now that we have a third vocalist in the band, it's, how can I say, it's fat.
Right. Yeah, that fat sound to it, like
Yeah.
it used to be. Yeah, definitely. And I think you're so right. Like a lot of the fans, they've heard the song so many times, just like with any classic band, you know what I mean? They're expecting to hear it like they heard it on the record back in the day. And sometimes I think that's kind of hard on the artist, right?
It
to kind
is.
of reproduce that. It's like they're gonna want to hear it like it was. We got to remember exactly what the setup was or what we were using. Sometimes that's hard to do. I personally like a little sometimes when you go off a little bit and make it a little bit more of a live experience. But I think the majority of the fans, you're right, they want to hear it how it was.
We also add that element also, though. We're not like carbon copies, but we are sticking close to home on the original songs when we repeat them for everyone, and our goal is on the new material. And we enjoy bringing that experience of the first two records to our audience, and they really like that. They react to. So far, I'm loving it. I can just put it to you that way, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to speak to you a little bit about another experience you had way back in the day. So, Dave, you contributed to the Hearing Aid video project.
Yes.
Obviously, Ronnie James Dio was in charge of that, doing famine relief in '85. Can you share us a little bit about what happened during that project? I mean, that was amazing, the group of people he brought together for that.
Well, that's what happened. Okay. That's the only way I can explain that. I had, at the time, Vince Neil and I were like best friends. And then I've got Ronnie right to the right of me when we're doing the choruses, and down on the step in front of me. And then next to him is Kevin Dubrow. And then you go another step over and there's Rob Halford.
Right.
So
right.
I'm just telling you that to bring all of those guys together, I mean, to be honest with you, not to be, you know, what do you call it, a downer on the other side of rock music, pop, I'll say, whatever. But when Michael Jackson did the We Are the World thing, and Lionel Richie and everybody, they kind of, I forget what ad it was, but Ronnie mentioned how, well, you won't hear anything from the metal side, you know, for the famine relief type thing. And that right there really upset Jimmy Bain. And him and Vivian, as you already know, got together to write We're Stars, you know. And to bring that many people together, it was like we had to prove a point that we cared also, and that you can't look down on metal music.
Right. From what I've read, Ronnie was really pissed about that the other community wasn't included, and that's par for the course when it comes to hard rock and heavy metal, right? I mean,
it is
always the redheaded stepchild type of thing, you know. Never get the appreciation you need. You guys are artists. You're working your butts off for this music, you know.
Right, right.
So
No,
it
you're
was
right.
so cool to see that. And the other thing that I heard too, and I heard a couple of these different people interviewed, it's like you get a call from Ronnie James Dio to do something, you're not saying no.
Right, right. That's true. Well, Ronnie always had a way of saying, hello, mate. I'm putting together blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Ronnie always had a big, huge heart. And what mattered to him is us getting when I say us, I'm talking about our side of music, getting a raw deal from what the world was looking at the time, you know, like Farm Aid, you know, the stuff that was happening. And to say that all of the metal people wouldn't care was just wrong, you know. So the results is We're Stars. And by the way, Rockin' Dave's Rough Cutt, We're Stars is in the set. It's like it's the first encore, actually. So
excellent to hear that. And I know they had that, you know, him and Wendy had such a big part in starting out Rough Cutt and get the stuff together. I think Ronnie and Wendy were doing some writing for you guys back in the early days when you were getting started out, and you were on the Sacred Heart tour with them too.
Yeah, I spoke to her today. And, it's you know, it's unfortunate what's happening right now, but yes, you're right. And he and her both played such a huge part in my early part of my career. As you know, before that happened, I was in Rat. I'm the original drummer from when it was called, well, there's one guy and me, it's called Rat, not Mickey Rat. And it was me and Jakey Lee and Matt and Piercy and a guy, Bob DeLellis, who Robin Crosby wound up taking his place. That's part of why we broke up, you know.
Right.
Anyway, it's another story for another time. But and so Jake and I started Rough Cutt when I found Paul, and then from there Jake left us to go to Ozzy. He took Randy's place. Yeah, so the family tree with Rough Cutt is huge.
Yeah, it still just amazes me. It seems like at some point everybody played in everybody's band, and Rat seems to have the biggest list.
Yeah,
they were probably in Rat at some point. You know, this artist at some point, and they went on to whatever. It seems like everybody was in some incarnation of Rat at some point back in the day.
That's
you know what
true.
I mean?
I can remember Paul doing an interview saying, "Well, all of my guys are from Rat." You know, and I thought that was funny, but in a way, it's true.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned it a little bit earlier. I wanted to see if we could talk about a little bit more. You got new music you guys are working on. Is it written? Is it demoed? What phase are we at?
We're only in the writing stage right now. I can is there any way I can see Scott on this? Are you there, Scott?
You don't see him?
Yeah, you should be able to see him.
Yeah. You want to answer that question? Because I mean, we've go ahead, answer that question.
Yeah, Dave and I have written a new ballad. Actually, it's one that he had in his arsenal, and he handed it off to me, and we sort of finished it up a little bit here, and we're finishing that ballad up, and that ballad itself is in the vein of the first album ballads that Rough Cutt's known so much for, like Dreaming Again, You Keep Breaking My Heart. And so it's going to be a really hard rocking, heavy metal, powerful ballad in that 1985 styling, as you mentioned before. That's what we're really concentrating on is keeping that original sound from 85. Like you talked about before, you know, so many bands, if they put out new music, they want to do something heavier and you know, detuned and
right.
dark.
I mean, you want to update it a little bit, but if you change too much and deviate too much from the formula, right, it's not that sound anymore, right?
Right. The true fans want to hear that styling, and because nobody's doing it anymore, and so that's what we're shooting for. And we're also working on another one that's a more up-tempo, fast rocker, too. So we've got a couple tunes coming that we're gonna put in the can real soon, very soon, and hopefully this year we'll have one, if not two singles that we can unleash on the world, and have both of those in the set, of course. And yeah, I mean, that's what we want to do is continue the fire of that original sound, and hopefully a lot of people
we really
find it refreshing.
We really have a handle on what he just said. Yeah. I mean, when we go in to rehearse, it's like magic, so.
Well, I hope when you guys are ready to drop that and talk about that, I hope we're able to bring you back and talk more about the new music. Another question for you, Scott, here. Obviously, you're kind of taking over a lead vocalist role in this band. Dave was saying, your shows have been going great. People have been singing along. That had to be a little scary the first couple of shows going out there, right? Especially for a singer, right? It's always a little bit, you're not sure what to expect, right?
Oh, it is. It's mainly, well, I come out confident enough that I know what I'm going to go out there and do. But you sort of have in the back of your mind, okay, man, I hope I'm accepted by this Rough Cutt family out here. And in Atlanta, I absolutely was, and it was just like a big hug that everybody gave me that night, literally after the show.
Yeah,
when we talked with everybody, and it was really cool, man. And I think from this point on, we're gonna continue to go out there and do it justice, as Paul says.
Yeah. And just to be amazed. When was Dave? When was the last time you guys performed before these last shows?
No,
21 or
the last time I did anything related to Rough Cutt, it was with Chris and myself and Jeff Beener from the Loyal Order playing bass, and Darren Householder from Love Hate playing Amir's parts, and Stephen St. James from Sarge, the band that Chris and Matt were in after I left Rat, when Jake and I started Rough Cutt. Chris didn't come along till later, At first it was Jake. It was Jakey Lee, me, Claude Snell, which wound up playing keyboards in Ronnie's band,
Right.
Joey Crispinelli and Paul. Great band, good stuff, but it was evolving at that time,
Right. And it had to just feel amazing. Like you were saying, the crowd was singing the lyrics back to you. And that's what makes, I think, the most special shows, when you hear that, when the crowd is singing your vocals, especially years later, right? Back to you.
Well, we didn't have any hit songs, but it's no secret that we kind of opened those doors and paved the way for everybody, because it's no secret. Warner Brothers accepts Rough Cutt worldwide on their label through the Dio family. And it was about 2.5 to 3 weeks later that Motley Crue gets picked up by Elektra. Before that Too Fast for Love album, that was like an indie thing.
Right. I was watching an interview with Doc McGee, and he said he went out to see Motley Crue when they were playing that. He said they sucked. They were terrible.
Well, anyway, my point is that through Warner Brothers, it opened so many doors for they call it the Sunset Strip.
Right. The bands that are in waiting, you kind of opened that door for them, right?
Yes, we did. And that's why I think our music lives so well. And not to mention, you got the great songs and great people, surrounded by great people. The Dio family, it was inevitable that Rough Cutt has this anniversary, sort of say what I'm doing. I'm carrying the torch, and I am celebrating the 40th anniversary of this band's music. And I'm doing that with the best guys I could find. And I love them all, and I feel like we have a real tight unit.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys, you were talking about the show you got coming up, obviously, the Whiskey, October 15th. You guys are going to be playing there. Tell us about what's going on for that show. Is there an opener, other bands, or what's kind of happening with that?
All of that's still up in the air. Excuse me, but I am getting offers. I'm having just today 2 different bands of saying we want to do the show with you. So we've been discussing it with the Loyal Order also, and we haven't. It's 6 months away, but I promise you, for the whiskey, it will be a phenomenal show. Scott's got a big plan anyway, so.
Yeah, and like Dave said before, originally Chris was going to come out and join us and on that show. So obviously it's going to be a dedication to Chris that night, and I think Dave has a few other maybe irons in the fire from some LA folks out there who might want to come out and maybe even get up on Stars or whatever. Who knows who will show up at the show, to check the band out, and that would be great to have some cool musicians and artists up with us that night. But we're going to be doing, so many of the cool Rough Cutt songs that everybody is expecting to hear, first and second album, and some new music too. If everything is ready and prepared by then, I'm sure we'll be doing that as well. But we can't wait to get out there and do that. What a legendary, iconic venue. I mean, it's just going to be humbling to step inside the place, much less step on the stage.
Yeah, definitely. Dave, can you remember when you guys played there last back in the day? It had to be a little bit while back.
Rough Cutt did a show at the Whiskey, let's see.
Like 2019 or something?
That's right. Yeah, so right around there somewhere. I know that after, we did 2 Monsters of Rock cruises. I'm not remembering specific dates, but it was probably, I've been in South Carolina for over 3 years, so I'd say probably 5 years ago.
Yeah, there's clips of it on YouTube. So it's really cool.
Yeah, definitely very cool. So yeah, so much stuff. And you said you got other stuff coming up. You got other offers for shows and dates, and that just sounds amazing, man. So very cool. We can't wait to hear the new stuff you guys coming out. We hope, like you said, we hope you'll circle back and let us know and keep us in the loop on what's happening with you guys. It sounds so great. Again, our condolences about Chris, everybody in the Rough Cutt family. I appreciate you guys taking the time today. I know this is a difficult day for everybody in the Rough Cutt camp, but thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
All right,
and
so that
God
wraps
bless
up
Chris and all.
All right, guys. So that wraps up this episode of Talking About Rock. Thanks to my guests today, Dave Alford and Scott Board from Rockin' Dave's Rough Cutt. Shout out to our sponsors, School of Rock, North Buffalo, and Unleashed Music. And to our listeners, we hope you're keeping the torch alive and supporting live music wherever you are.